Hey there, this is Gerald with the Rise of the 1%. In today's video, I want to talk about why some entrepreneurs are horrible at sales. Why some entrepreneurs are horrible at sales. Now, before I get into the information, make sure you bang that like button, bang that subscribe button. And also, if you're an entrepreneur looking to get better results at sales this year in 2025, you definitely want to make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I got some cool stuff I'm going to share with you that could potentially help you with that. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Now, with that said, let's get into why some entrepreneurs are horrible at sales. Now, myself, over the last 8 years, I've done thousands of calls with potential clients for our business that are entrepreneurs and business owners. Also, of course, I've done a lot of calls with our clients over the last 8 years. And I can tell you, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially those that are still in the beginning stages of getting their business going, they have a very poor mindset when it comes to sales. They literally come into it a lot of times in terms of business saying, I am not great at sales. I'm not great at sales. That's what they say. And I'm a firm believer in if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. And so the first thing when it comes to entrepreneurship and business, I say this: if you are newer to business, or even if you've been in business a while and you still believe that you're not great at sales, you got to shift your beliefs. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to shift your beliefs around you being great at sales or not great at sales. You got to shift your belief when it comes to that. You got to start to believe that you can become great at sales. Most of your very successful entrepreneurs and business owners, they typically have some type of sales background. Most of them. And they have a mindset of, I have to sell to grow my business. And if they didn't have a sales background, they had to go out and acquire the skills to become great at sales. Because without sales, no one is purchasing your product or service. You're not serving anyone. You're not impacting anyone if no one is purchasing your product or service. And if you have something of value to offer, you have a moral obligation to share it with as many people as you can. And so if you believe you're not great at sales, you have to work on it. You have to work on it alongside shifting your beliefs. That's what you have to do in terms of sales. Now, another thing I would say that I've discovered when it comes to talking to potential clients, to even clients over the years, a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners don't even have any type of sales framework or script to follow when they get on calls. They don't have any type of sales script or framework. And I work with some entrepreneurs who are actually putting together scripts or frameworks, and they have trouble at times with knowing what type of questions to ask when it comes to identifying the potential client for their particular business current situation. Identifying some of their pains, their problems, their frustrations. Identifying the costs, like in terms of what it's costing them to not get the problem solved. They have a problem with designing questions around understanding their desired situation in terms of that potential client. Getting that potential client as well through questions to admit that they can't actually solve their problem on their own. I've had clients who've come on board over the years who've had problems framing questions to gather this information. If you have a problem framing those questions, that means you don't thoroughly understand your market. You have not done enough market research. You have not spoken to enough people within your market. That's why you don't know the type of questions to ask to get that type of data. So many entrepreneurs and business owners, they skip over that part of thoroughly doing the market research, thoroughly understanding their ideal client that they actually want to serve. before going to marketing and sales. So, with that being said, you got to do the proper market research. You got to speak to the market. That way you know what type of questions should be in your sales script or framework. As well, in terms of that sales script or framework, you got to know how to be able to transition from your questions that you've been asking and gathering the necessary information and data and doing great active listening. You got to be able to transition out of that into your pitch and offer, and be able to thoroughly explain your offer. I like to call it 3 to 5 different pillars. That's going to take this potential client that you're speaking to from their current situation to their desired situation. How you helping them bridge that gap? And being you can help them, then being able to talk about the investment, being able to go on and get them started, onboarded, or if they give you objections, know how to handle those objections. You got to be able to know how to do those things when it comes to sales as an entrepreneur business owner. Now, the third thing I would say in terms of why some entrepreneurs are horrible at sales is they don't put in enough reps. They don't do enough calls. They do a handful of calls and say, this is not working for me. You cannot just do a handful of calls and believe that's going to give you the necessary feedback on if your offer is really going to convert well or if you are great at sales. You got to put in the reps if you really want to be great at sales. I've said in this video, I've done thousands of calls with potential clients over 8 years in the Rise of the 1% business. Not only that, I did direct sales for 5 years for a couple of different companies before I started the Rise of the 1%. You got to put in the reps. Because another thing, you can't begin to build a sales team until you've done it several times yourself first. So you got to keep that in mind. So, how to get better at sales and not be horrible at it? Number one, you got to believe that you can become great at sales. You have to get rid of the stinking thinking and get rid of this negative stigma towards sales as well. Like you believe you have to be some used car salesman or something. Consultative selling is what you want to become great at as an entrepreneur and business owner. Number two, you need a script, a framework, or different scripts and frameworks, depending on what type of activity you're doing in regards to sales. To follow, you can't get on calls and wing it. So you have to make sure you've done a proper market research in the beginning stages of your business to thoroughly understand the type of questions that need to be asked in the sales script and framework. And number three, you got to put in the reps. You got to put in the reps. You got to do the calls in large numbers. The more reps you do, the better you're going to get at it. The better you're going to get at it. And then eventually, you can get into building a sales team. And eventually, get out of the sales role and focus on other high-value activities in your company. Take that off your plate. Eventually, you can do that. At first, though, you got to be great at it yourself before you can hand that task off to others. So just keep that in mind. So with that said, hope you got some value out of this video. Being you did, make sure you bang that like button. Also, if you want to receive a lot more free training videos just like this. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that red button and subscribe to the channel as well. Feel free to drop any comments below if you have any questions in regards to anything when it comes to sales. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this particular video as well. Any comments, any feedback. Also, feel free to share this video around to anyone else. And also, if you need assistance with getting better at sales, not only that, you need assistance with putting systems in place that'll consistently fill your calendar with qualified appointments this year in 2025 and be able to add on or scale up to 20K to 50K plus a month in under 60 days without paid ads for your particular business, then I'm going to actually have a link to my calendar in the description. You can click on it and you can schedule in a 45-minute free customized tailored strategy specifically for your business in 2025. We also have a discussion, anything sales related as well, if you like. Just click the link down in the description. We can have a conversation. I can get on, just find out a little bit more about yourself, your business, where you at, any challenges you may be having, what you're looking to accomplish. Ben, I feel y'all potentially can assist you. I'll put together a custom tailored strategy specifically for you and your business when it comes to lead gen, sales, etc. And scaling up that company revenue and profitability and impact. And then if we see it fit to work with each other, we'll talk about what that looks like. If not, you'll just get a free, valuable 45-minute strategy session call with myself. So like I said, that link will actually be in the description for you to actually book in a call if you're serious about it. All right. With that said, this is Gerald Bass, Rise of the 1%. Have a phenomenal day on purpose.